Sunsets at Midnight, Part 2, Memories in the Dark. At first glance, it looked like any other patch of black ice, a reflection of the dark mural that was painted above. But something was different about it, a glint that shone a little too bright. An unfamiliar sensation snuck into the space between my ears, and my eyelids suddenly felt real heavy, heavier than the weight of all those stars above, heavier than the sky they soared through. And the heat radiating off the ice embraced my shoulders like a thick blanket. Sleepy. I'd been feeling it the moment I offered the wind my attention, but I could ignore it no longer. My brain wasn't working the way I needed it to, and now those lights that sparkled above were different. Brighter, smoother, faster, and much more real. I found myself counting them like sheep. 1, 2, 4, 9, 17, 56, 1,800,043. They were all around me, dancing a box step of ecstasy. Not flickering, no, they were beaming that blue-yellow energy which I knew now to be life. I reached my hands out to feel something, anything that would tell me who they were. A passing thought, a subtle angst, a shy laugh, a fading memory. It brushed my hand, soft as a feather. More than enough to let me in, to let me see. The dark canvas spreading beyond Tua's stars changed. Like a soft and stretchy dough, the sky was yanked apart and bent around my tree. The limbs that protected me just a few seconds ago warped into the eternal night, losing all memory of what it meant to be a tree. Still, I held tight to the forgotten limbs, clinging with all my strength to reality, what was left of it. My vision shook more violently than the winds. Even with my keen eyes, I was finding it difficult to adjust into his darkness. And despite the imminent danger my mind was screaming, I couldn't help but sink back into the dance. The stars continued to burn, soft and constant, tracing paths of faint gold across my face. Maybe that's why my eyes wouldn't adjust. There was still so much light in this world after all. I smiled into the stars and they smiled back, curving an upside-down arch below my perch. They circled round and around, caressing me slowly at first, and then faster as they spun webs made of life. That is what they are, aren't they? I thought. These can't just be stars that I'm seeing. Or could they? Maybe stars are more than what I knew them to be. As if reading my mind, they began to flicker, quickly like fireflies. It seemed as if they were asking me a question. If only I could speak star. Oh, I wonder what I'd say. There is life in you, isn't there? Nothing on this planet could create such art without it. This display of beauty and freedom flows through all of us too. But you, star upon star, how do you wear it with such pride and such ease? But we're not from this planet, they danced in my head. No life from yours could do what we do. And at that, this thing we do isn't a thing to be done. Should it really be effort that makes a thing beautiful? Pride is what you see in us? If nature is to live without shame, why then should we show pride? But how could this be nature? The same could be said for the mountains man came from, and the seas which brought Krim. Even the tree I now hold to should be named by nature. It was gone. The tree. All of it. I couldn't even remember the word. Tint, trip, teat. Now it was a distant dream. Something I had touched, but never lived upon, never climbed. I was floating now, bound by nothing save for my bare toes which had sunk deep into the thick dark. The shining ropes that were the stars raced around my fuzzy legs, keeping me afloat. Those things are all beautiful too, don't you think? They asked. The mountains' timbre are stoic and strong, unmoving in the winds. The stars zipped up and down, forming the sharp features of Timber's rock. Nellie frolics and sways with a body too great for her shore. Even the Krim struggle with her. They swirled in circular patterns, not unlike the rolling of waves. And your tree here, as beautiful as them all, crawling with green, a beacon of support. Life that keeps there twists in her shell and reaches to the life of others rooted by the next tree over. She was radiant too, wasn't she? How had I forgotten? A tangle of sticks and twigs that made up her lively hairdo, the strong planted base from which all bananas can feast from. She was the mother of all I had come to know, and all I would instantly forget. These things are as beautiful as you say, yes, but you still fail to see from my eyes. The most stunning life that lives burns in your dance. You're a fool, monkey. Though we're flattered, perhaps you could see through our eyes just once. But only if you're willing to speak with him. Who? The stars were spinning too fast for me to keep up. I had lost the name of their dance hours ago. The strangest thing is that I still can't remember if Tua actually spoke to me. There is no memory I have of him producing any actual words. Instead, I've been left with a gaping void, which is just barely enough space for all of his thoughts. A message in his own language, I suppose, though one that isn't meant to be heard by mortal ear. I imagine it's similar to trying to recall when you first performed a high trill. It's something buried deep in our minds, almost an instinct that we are taught from creation. The world taught us. Using nature as its voice and life as its thought, it taught us how to sing. Tua, on the other end, taught me how to cry. He spoke of life and he spoke of death and everything that happens in between, as this is the space where I lie. Sentience strives to place the light on mortality, as if it is the essence from which the planet was materialized. A long life is a successful life. Survival of the fittest implies death of the weak. But is death weakness? The question floods my brain still, the answer just as vivid. As you gaze into my ocean and count the endless constellations, ponder on the life of a star. Endure its life. You cannot. No man, woman, being, or child can possess another shadow. Well, I suppose some children might, but that's a story for another night. You will never embody any other species of mind aside from your own. Yes, the same can be said for all other living beings, even for the winds that played your seasons. Your canvas alone is the one which you paint. Though tonight you may take up my brush, so in this way I will show you another. To live as a star is to burn as the rain. Though its death may linger like love, the soul fades faster than fog. What you see is recollection of that soul, but what you feel is the absence of such connection. This life that you surmise, the one I engulf you in, it's not life at all. That realization is an assumption. It's something I always know, but often forget. Tua speaks this way. He doesn't place an idea, he pulls it out of you, breaking the surface with waves of nostalgia. It's okay to let go of these memories. Although they are being released back to the light, they shouldn't become any more important as they were before. Still, yes, I see how vitally you kept the memory before. Still, no, there isn't a need to hold so fast. Breathe, child, breathe. I felt one of the stars race around my light then, dragging me deeper into the black, deeper more, deeper, darker, and deeper, deep. My eyes became more open than they had ever been before, wider than the first time I tasted banana bread. I saw less than nothing and more than everything, and finally, I could see him. The thing I had presumed to be the moon, Tua, the thing that everyone presumes to be the moon, Tua, is nothing more than a rock. A night before, this would have shaken me profoundly. Tonight, it was nothing more than a fact. This thing that I see now, every time I close my eyes and blink, that's him. Tua gets a bad rap for being the ugliest of the three moons. Granted, no one has seen him the way I see him now, and maybe this isn't beauty I'm speaking to, but when it ends and when my world collapses, I suspect it'll be his face that consoles me amidst the others. Despite this, I can't describe it, but I'll describe the spaces around it, and in doing so, maybe I can leave his shadow here to be discovered. Black as eternity and dark as space, I think I've driven this point hard enough. I'll imagine him in the sun's glory. A face soft with smile lines cut through its soul. His nose was something like a conch shell buried in the sand. It wore a rounded darkness. I don't know why, but some would have thought his type to be sharp and detailed. His eyes, too, were smattered and smudged, as if they were repainted over an old memory. Beneath the dried oil, slivers of silver light broke through. Similar to his stars, this light seemed to suck away any bit of light surrounding it, which was already non-existent. I know, I'm supposed to be imagining him in the light. He had a large mouth with crooked teeth which gave him an almost childlike appearance, and woven around his forehead were fine wrinkles that told stories of his travels cycling satiety. Do you see me? I asked aloud now for an answer which can come only from myself. Do you see how I ache for something more than survival? Could it be death that I seek? That everyone and all seek together? One long journey for a grave? What kind of grave would I dig? One with banana bread, I would hope. Maybe a loaf large enough to sleep on? That isn't just my survival speaking either. Banana bread is truly the core at which one must live, if not for survival. This thought seemed to pause to his voice. Banana bread? Seriously? I found to his thoughts sneaking into my own. Why do you hold such value to something of such insignificance? It's material. It's fleeting. Is it really so divine? Images appeared and began to stroll along my river of reflection, my last loaf being the first. Lounging, relaxed, and carefree in my palm leaf hammock. The smell hits me before anything else, cinnamon and pecan, sugar-coated by the overpowering scent of banana. My mouth waters even now as I sleep. I raise the bread to my lips and bite down into the soft bliss. I'm teleported home. Home. It's dark and cold. There are icicles on my eyelashes. The sleep had been frozen shut. I wipe the flakes away, open my eyes, and stare plainly. No words. The scene across Khotan is nothing short of breathtaking. 2,568 meters up in the air tends to have this effect. My shoulders settle as her rolling mountain bluffs shroud me with safety. I nearly forgot what this memory was about. But there she is again, the smell and the heat. I move off my perch in the trees and find my way back to the old cave. Socks, I can't be older than 2 years here. Inside, I find all of my old things, rocks I considered very close friends. A coconut passed down from my father for sport, and a portrait painted on the wall by the hand of my mother. She's there now. I can hear her toiling away by the hearth. The smell is too much now, and I'm coming awake, but Tua, by the gods you swim amongst, divinity it is. As she turns to look at us, bread in hand, I feel your tears on my fur. Is this not something to live for? A recipe? A plan? I see. You see. We both often forget to understand. But then, what is it that you shall die for? Can they not be the same? Even now, he drives these questions through my soul, and so I think of all of the death I have witnessed in the world, and trust me, it's plenty. Not only the murder, the hunt, the quest for tomorrow, but also the sleep, the somber, and the peaceful release. I see families crying for a child in bed, a father caressing his stillborn death. The Karun, dried blood on its hands, a Chichi running home with its prey. And somewhere within this dream is me, hanging limp from the kapok tree. I shudder and am suddenly pulled from the vision. His face is back on mine, mimicking my distaste. Death doesn't always have to be like that, though. And it isn't. He's right. The tears for the child irrigate this garden which we call home. He follows the river. It will save him from being alone. The father smiles, for he was able to look upon his child at least once. The smile I remember, the stars never forgot. And as the Chichi enjoys a meal with its friends, I wonder about the Karun. I guess those guys confuse even the likes of Tua. As for my body, dead in the branches, it stirs slowly. Visions of bananas and bread dancing mindlessly. The stars are carrying them back into the sky. I guess Tua took a liking to them after all. I wiped the wet from my eyes and gazed up at the stars in gratitude for what they taught me that night. Beauty is the wax that shapes the world. It manifests wonder and promotes chase for more. Beauty is the thing I live for. The wild is what I'll die for. It's the flame by which the world melts. It is the natural light of dawn that spawns at moon's end. The reflection of sun which beams off a waterfall's splash, a lover's desire to heal your heart, her untimely laughter to a joke you said under your breath. The roar of a lion, strength and pride. It is the pain for my mother and the recipe she left behind. True beauty is birthed only in the wild, nature by design. I'm awake and full. Tua is long set by now, and yet I suspect it's him still that whispers these words. All right. Thank you for listening.